Hi and welcome to my channel. So in this video today, I'm going to be talking about a very sensitive topic, which is racism. The reason I'm talking about this is because a midwife, a black midwife, obviously in the UK, originally from Nigeria, has won a case against the NHS, obviously for racism. So that's why I say this is a very sensitive topic. I'm going to be telling you the circumstances of this case, and I know that many of us are going to be able to relate to this midwife, because if you're black and you're working in healthcare in a country like the UK, you've got the challenges that come with the job. As we all know, there is staffing crisis in healthcare. The pay is terribly bad and poor. The working conditions are not always the best. So you have that as a black nurse, but in addition, you will also have the racism, discrimination, intimidation, and all other sorts of things to deal with extra that other colleagues may not necessarily have. And so this is a challenge that all of us face. I'm black myself. I work as a nurse, for the NHS as an advanced nurse practitioner. So these are some of the things that I've experienced myself. I've seen colleagues experience them for various reasons. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So if you're new to my channel, obviously you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate your time. And I hope that these videos, you find them helpful, you find them useful, you're able to implement the things that I'm talking about, and they're able to support you in your own journey in the UK. Whether you're a nurse or not, when it comes to racism, you don't need to be in healthcare to experience it. You experience it in whatever field you're in. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you do want to hit subscribe, turn on the notification button so you're the first to be notified every single day when I drop a new video on here. So one of the things that I admire about this particular midwife, I don't know her personally, is the fact that she stood her ground and she was able to follow due process and proceed to the highest level, which is taking the case basically to court. And what I think is that I have reflected, reading this midwife's case, I've been able to reflect on my own personal situation, my own journey, and to just appreciate this midwife for going the extra mile, not only to highlight some of the challenges that many of us face, but to actually dedicate the time that, because things like this are very time consuming, and, the whole process is not an easy journey to go through, those legal processes. So somebody like this was able to give up her time. I think the least we can do is appreciate this midwife and say thank you for going through this journey to highlight some of these challenges that we are all facing. And by the way, in case you're new here and you're wondering who I am, my name is Melvis. I work as an advanced nurse practitioner for the NHS. I support nurses, carers, midwives, student nurses, prospective student nurses with career progression in the UK. So obviously you can see my obvious interest in this particular case because I support nurses who are going through different things in their careers daily, through my private coaching program, Nursing Career Bootcamp. If you check the comment section below, you see a link to my newsletter. You can join that newsletter so that when there's information, I send it directly to your inbox. Information that I send or that I'm interested in really is regarding work from home opportunities, visa sponsorship opportunities in the UK, career progression, side business opportunities. Those are the things that I'm keen on because while I appreciate the fact that I'm working as a nurse in the UK, I do not want to retire when I'm 67, which means that I'm on a mission to retire before I'm 40 years old. And to achieve that, I need to do way more than simply going to work, working and coming back home. For example, I have, side businesses that I've set up for myself. I have work from home opportunities as well as focusing on my career progression. So now working as an advanced nurse practitioner because I know that with doing these three different things is going to enable me earn a lot of money in a short period of time so that I can retire early, enjoy life, live the freedom without being in bondage in things that I maybe not necessarily enjoy a lot. And so if you want to be part of this journey, you can join that newsletter. But most importantly, if you need my personalized, individualized, tailored support for you to succeed, excel, and thrive in all these things that I've mentioned, then check the about section of this YouTube channel, and you're going to see a link to my private coaching program, Nursing Career Bootcamp. And when you join that program, then we get started with that journey, so that you can have that career progression. If you're a carer, for example, you're thinking, oh my God, I want to progress into nursing, into midwifery, What else can I do? Non-clinical healthcare jobs. As you know, in healthcare here in the UK, for example, those non-clinical healthcare jobs tend to pay even more than the clinical jobs. Some pay more than nursing, yet you don't require any degree experience or whatsoever to get them. So again, those are some of the things that the services that I offer through the private coaching program. You're going to meet other nurses, carers, midwives, student nurses, prospective student nurses who are also going to support you through that journey, through that process, so that you always get, it's like a family. It's like a family, basically, a place where you can talk freely without feeling judged, without the bias. People that understand what you're going through. That's what the program is all about. If you're a nurse, you want to progress into a nurse anesthetist, advanced nurse practitioner, nurse manager, specialist nurse, you get the support, you've got the resources that you deserve. This interview preparation, CV reviews. We go through all of those pathways, support you through the journey step by step, to make sure that you excel. If you want to study nursing, what's the best pathway for you? All those things you're going to get from the program. So anyway, if you're keen, just check the about section of this channel, because I don't want to go on and on. I could go on about this all day long, but let me stop here. So, like I was saying, basically what happened was this particular midwife worked, for this particular NHS trust just for a year. And then what happens was that when she resigned, on her last day, when you resign on your last day, normally there are snacks, there's something to eat or whatever. It just depends where you are, how you've been. But this nurse obviously resigned because she was already feeling intimidated. She was feeling all this racism against her. She was feeling that people were ganging up against her and things like that. So on her last day, one of the nurses on there came and said that the other nurses on the ward, like people on the ward, should check their bags right in front of everybody, while this nurse was stood there with other colleagues. And the nurse said, oh, people should check their bags, as if to say, this midwife, for example, had stolen something, and so people should check their bags to make sure that all their belongings are in place. Obviously, this midwife did not take it lying down. She was very upset. She said that she felt ashamed. She felt intimidated. She felt that, it was unfair to accuse her of theft, of which she had never actually, stolen anything. And right in front of everybody, in the corridor, on the ward, it's a terrible thing to have experienced. And so what this midwife did was that she decided to put a complaint, official formal complaint, against this particular colleague of hers and her behavior. So when the midwife put the complaint, obviously there was a response back eventually saying that this colleague had reflected on the incident. She'd acknowledged that what she had said was wrong and had upset her fellow midwife, but actually she didn't mean any harm. And then the trust also said that she had undergone some training in unconscious bias. So basically the reaction of the trust to this particular incident was to provide this training, which is unconscious bias training, according to their response, obviously, to the case, to the midwife. What do you think about this case? Have you experienced racism yourself? What has your experience been? If you're watching this and you're not in the UK, what do you think about racism? When you think about racism, what is it for you? If you want to leave any comments in the comment section, that's fine. If you want to use my newsletter and there's anything that you want to discuss privately, you don't want to necessarily put it here on YouTube, I completely understand that. You can use that newsletter to send it to me and I'll be able to reply to you directly. But if it's something that you can share here, do feel free to share so that other people can also have other ideas, other experiences, get supported. Because look, this is something that is affecting many people in this beautiful country. I know people that have left healthcare because of racism, because of harassment, and they feel intimidated by fellow colleagues and the system and all of that. But it shouldn't be the case. There is quite a lot of support that the NHS provides. There are speaking up guardians as well that every trust has. So if you're working somewhere and there's any challenge or you don't want to speak to, say, your manager or people that you're working with or that you can always go to those speaking up guardians and they'll be able to listen to you. It's supposed to be confidential information and conversations. So you would hope that they stay that way, if so you can feel free to talk to those people, find out who they are, and how to speak to them. Again, that is really, really helpful. There are also other services and phone lines that you can ring to speak to somebody over the phone, and they're able to support you as well with whatever it is that you're going through. If you don't feel comfortable speaking directly to management or with management where you're working. So again, because sometimes the problems can actually be from management rather than just colleagues or, from yourself. So that's the help that is available. So this nurse then decided that obviously, this nurse decided that she was going to not only end there, but she would actually take the case to court. And that was what she did. So she took the case to court to say that, she'd experienced this racism and it was unfair and all of that. And the judge has, ruled obviously her favor to say that looking at all the evidence, this nurse had been discriminated against. She'd experienced racism. Obviously, not all her accounts about racism were accepted, but there were so many instances and examples that she gave that the judge was like, she's gone through so much working in that place, and that rightfully so, she has the right to feel the way she feels. And then the other colleague, obviously, who was involved, the court actually found that she did not actually do the unconscious bias training like the trust had said. And so the judge was like, well, so again, equality and diversity is something that is at the heart of the NHS. And I think that different places kind of implement that differently. In some areas, it is very, very well embedded within the culture. In other areas, it is not as embedded. And so I think we kind of need to be the change that we want to see and that we expect. Yes, it is difficult. All of us go through those challenging moments where we're thinking, oh my goodness, I wish I could just disappear away from here and, just disappear. But at the end of the day, you're here, you need to carry on with what you're doing, carry on with your life. So the best thing is just to seek help, seek that support from the powers that be, from the institutions that are there that you think that are going to be, or from your own relatives, from other colleagues as well that that will empathize and understand what you're going through, because racism is something that is so powerful. If you haven't experienced racism, I think it is very difficult to understand what it's about, because some people are like, oh, people are going on about the race card again, people are going on about this. But if you experience racism, you know that it's not just about the race card. It is real. It is a traumatizing thing to go through. And this midwife, hopefully she's in a good place now, working. So again, just leave comments below. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas? What do you think about this? How do you feel about it all? And yeah, just all of that. Again, like I said, if you've got any question that you think, I want to share this out here, do feel free to put in the comment section below. But if it's something that is more private, again, I don't mind you using my, newsletter to share that with me, and then I can reply to you so that it's just between us. But if you need support, obviously, with your career progression, how to behave yourself in the UK, because look, many of us moved to the UK. There are many things that are assumed that we should know. But how do we just know them from nowhere? That's what Nursing Career Bootcamp is going to support you with, so that every step of the way you're well supported, you know what's expected, what you should do, in addition to the other resources that are already available. So again, the program is not free, but it is in a very affordable price that anybody can afford. I've made it such that whether you're in the UK or out of the UK, it is very, very affordable, because I want everybody to have access to this coaching, so that you get the support that you need, career progression. You're not stuck as a carer or as a band 5 nurse or as a midwife, but you're able to progress, live your best life, and enjoy this beautiful country and the opportunities that it actually brings. So I've done lots of videos on this channel about different career pathways, work from home opportunities, how to start a side hustle, just so that you can get that support that you need as well, to be able to think out of the box, think about other things that are available. Because there are people that have been in nursing for years, they are burnt out, but they don't know what else to do. And that's why I'm here to bring those opportunities to you, just to make sure that you don't miss out. So when you join that newsletter, obviously you're avoiding the YouTube algorithm with the yo-yo effect, so that you can get that information sent directly to your inbox. So share this with anybody that is able to benefit from this information. Share this with your fellow colleagues, loved ones, family members, so that they can get the help and the support that they need and rightfully deserve. Again, thank you. Keep watching the videos.